From the 1850s, monuments were erected in towns and cities across Canada to honor both early and contemporary figures who marked our history. The Montreal sculptor Louis-Philippe Hébert dominated the field, with sculptures erected from Halifax to New Westminster, usually composed of a bronze standing portrait on a granite base, frequently complemented by allegorical figures and narrative reliefs. Walter Allward, Canada's leading monumental sculptor of the early 20th century, would transform the visual language of our public monuments. Walter Allward was born in Toronto in 1875. His parents had come from Newfoundland. At the age of 14, Allward apprenticed with an architectural firm and then worked as a modeler for the Don Valley Brickworks. In 1894, at the age of 19, he received his first commission for the figure of peace that crowns the monument to the volunteers of the 1885 Northwest Uprising at Queen's Park in Toronto. Following his marriage in 1898, Allward traveled to France, where he admired the work of the sculptor Auguste Rodin, whose dramatic treatment of the human body would have a lasting influence on the young sculptor. This is first seen in Allward's memorial to the invention of the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell in Brantford. Two large standing figures symbolize humanity, sending and receiving messages. Between them, a massive relief depicts man encouraged by inspiration and three floating figures representing knowledge, joy, and sorrow. The messages communicated by the new invention. Allward worked out his ideas in numerous drawings and plaster studies, but unlike his contemporaries, he confined himself to monumental work and produced very few small bronzes. The Bell Memorial was commissioned in 1909, but not completed until 1917, and a monument to King Edward VII, commissioned for Ottawa in 1913, would remain unfinished. Allward's high standards, the difficulty of finding models and materials, and the lack of foundries in Canada hampered his production. All his early bronzes were cast in the United States, but increased demand for metalwork during the First World War would support a new Canadian industry. The two figures of truth and justice conceived for the King Edward Memorial, and now installed in front of the Supreme Court in Ottawa, were cast by the Architectural Bronze and Iron Works in Toronto, as were the figures of victory and defeat for Stratford. Stratford's monument was the first of 4 war memorials designed by Walter Allward. He received the commission in the spring of 1920, and it was unveiled on the 6th of November, 1922. In the meantime, he received commissions for monuments in Peterborough, unveiled in 1929, and for Brantford, unveiled in 1933. In 1921, he won the competition for Canada's National Memorial at Vimy Ridge in France, that was completed in 1936. Exceptionally, the figures at Vimy are carved in stone, not cast in bronze. Allward's last public sculpture was the William Lyon Mackenzie Memorial at Queen's Park in Toronto, first conceived in 1937 to mark the centenary of the 1837 rebellion and the struggle for responsible government in Upper Canada. The resurgence of war in 1939 and the potential destruction of his monument at Vimy haunted Allward. This can be seen in the numerous caricatures dealing with conflict, death, and destruction that he drew at this time. Walter Allward died in Toronto in 1955, yet his monuments in Stratford, Toronto, Brantford, Peterborough, Windsor, Ottawa, and Vimy remain exemplary works of art and moving tributes to those who lived and died for Canada.